Have you ever noticed how some Africans speak English with a soft, sing-song tone, almost like a Filipino? It's not your imagination. Across the continent, millions are slowly picking up the Filipino way of speaking English, and it's changing the way Africa sounds online, in classrooms, and even in call centers. You might be wondering, why would Africans copy the Filipino accent? What's so special about it? Well, the answer will surprise you because it's not just about pronunciation, it's about power, opportunity, and identity. Let's start with something that most people don't realize. The Philippines is one of the biggest English-speaking nations in the world. Over 70% of Filipinos speak English fluently. But what's more impressive is how they speak it. Their tone is warm, friendly, and crystal clear. It's the kind of English that feels inviting and easy to understand. That's why Filipinos dominate the global call center industry, serving American, European, and even African companies. Now, here's where things get interesting. Over the past few years, African call centers and online freelancers have been expanding fast. Countries like Kenya, Nigeria, Ghana, and South Africa have seen massive growth in outsourcing jobs. But many of these clients, especially from Western countries, love the Filipino style of speaking English. So, Africans who work online started noticing a pattern. If they spoke more like Filipinos, they got higher ratings, more clients, and better pay. It's not about pretending to be Filipino. It's about adopting the same approach, a calm tone, polite delivery, and a rhythm that sounds international, not local. And that's where this trend started. Africans began listening to Filipino YouTubers, watching Filipino vloggers, and copying their speech rhythm to sound more neutral and professional. There's a name for this style. It's called neutral English. It's the kind of English that doesn't sound too British, too American, or too African. And the Filipinos have mastered it so well that the world is now copying them. But this shift didn't happen overnight. It started on the internet. In the early 2010s, YouTube and TikTok became flooded with Filipino creators teaching English pronunciation. Their videos reached Africa, where millions of young people were looking to improve their accents for better opportunities. And suddenly, something clicked. Africans realized they didn't need to sound American or British. They just needed to sound clear, friendly, and confident. The Filipino way of speaking became the perfect model. Why? Because it's close enough to neutral English, but still full of warmth. The Filipino tone naturally rises and falls, almost like a melody, which makes conversations sound alive and respectful. Compare that to some Western tones that can sound too flat or too harsh, and you'll understand why the Filipino accent became so appealing. Here's a fun example. Many Africans working in customer service say things like, "Hello, good evening, sir. How may I help you?" But now, you'll hear something softer. Like, "Hello, sir. Good evening, po. How can I assist you today?" The po part, it's a Filipino word used to show respect. Africans love it because it adds politeness and warmth to the tone, something that clients from other countries instantly notice and appreciate. This influence also shows up in Africa's online English learning communities. On platforms like YouTube and TikTok, you'll find Nigerian and Kenyan creators teaching Filipino-style English lessons. They explain how to speak clearly, smile while talking, and avoid strong local accents when dealing with global clients. These videos often get millions of views. It's proof that Africa is not just watching, it's adapting. But there's a deeper reason behind this trend. Both Africans and Filipinos share a similar story. Both groups use English as a bridge away to connect with the rest of the world, to study abroad, to work online, and to escape economic barriers. In a sense, English became the language of dreams. And the Filipino model showed Africa that you don't have to lose your identity to sound professional. You can speak English your own way, friendly, respectful, and effective. Let's not forget the massive cultural connection between the Philippines and Africa through the BPO industry, the business process. Outsourcing companies in Kenya, Ghana, and Nigeria have studied the Philippines' success in outsourcing and are now copying not just their systems, but also their speech training in call center academies in Nairobi and Lagos. Trainers literally play recordings of Filipino agents to teach African workers how to handle international customers. The Filipino accent is now being taught in Africa. And it's not just call centers. African YouTubers and influencers are also picking up Filipino expressions. Words like POA, kuya, and even the way. Filipinos stretch their vowels when speaking English are being mimicked online. Watch a few African TikToks, and you'll see comments like, "Why do you sound like a Filipino?" It's becoming part of pop culture. Now, some people criticize this trend. They say it's a kind of imitation or loss of originality. But if you look closer, it's actually something powerful. It's communication. It's Africa learning from another developing region that has already figured out how to use English as a tool for success. The Filipino accent represents soft power, the ability to influence others, not by force, but by warmth, clarity, and approachability. That's what millions of Africans are learning. In a continent with over 2,000 local languages, English is the bridge, and the Filipino way of speaking English has become the blueprint for how to use that bridge effectively, without sounding fake or forced. To understand this even deeper, you have to look at what's happening in African classrooms. In Ghana, for example, some private schools have started bringing in Filipino teachers for English training. These teachers focus not just on grammar, but on tone and clarity. They train students to speak in a way that's easy for foreigners to understand. The same thing is happening in Nigeria and Rwanda. Filipino English teachers are shaping how the next generation of Africans will speak. And if you check freelance platforms like Upwork or Fiverr, you'll find thousands of African workers describing their English as neutral, like Filipino English. That line alone helps them get noticed by foreign clients. Why? Because employers already trust the Filipino tone. It's professional, easy on the ears, and universally understood. It's also fascinating how this trend is flipping the script. For decades, Africans were told to sound British or American to be taken seriously. But now, the Filipino model is proving that neutral is the new global. Africans aren't just copying, they're transforming. They're mixing Filipino warmth with African rhythm, creating a new hybrid accent that's uniquely global. One Nigerian vlogger even said, "When I started speaking like my Filipino colleagues, my confidence went up. I didn't sound fake, I sounded friendly. And that friendliness got me more views and clients." That's the power of tone. Think about it, both Africans and Filipinos are known for their smiles, hospitality, and positive energy. That's why this language connection feels so natural. The Filipino way of speaking English blends perfectly with African culture because it's built on respect and emotion. And it's spreading fast. In Ghana, some people now jokingly say, "I'm learning Taglish," a mix of Tagalog and English, because they're consuming so much Filipino content. Filipino TV dramas, movies, and influencers are hugely popular in many African countries. The more Africans watch them, the more they pick up the tone, the humor, and the rhythm of Filipino English. Now imagine what this means for the future. As the world becomes more connected through remote work and online education, communication will be the most powerful skill anyone can have. And Africans who learn the Filipino way of speaking English are gaining an edge. They can connect across borders faster, get better opportunities, and represent Africa in a way that's easy for the world to understand. That's why this isn't just a language trend, it's a quiet revolution. A revolution powered by speech. Millions of Africans are no longer chasing the Western accent. They're chasing clarity, connection, and confidence. And they found that in the Filipino way of speaking. So next time you hear a Kenyan teacher, a Ghanaian YouTuber, or a Nigerian freelancer sound a bit like they're from Manila, don't be surprised. You're hearing the sound of a global voice, shaped by two continents that are more connected than most people realize. It's not imitation, it's admiration, it's respect. And it is the birth of something new. An Afro-Filipino English that represents collaboration between developing worlds, not imitation of the West. And if you think this is just about accents, you're missing the bigger picture. This is about empowerment, about how voices from the global South are shaping the future of how English is spoken around the world. That's why millions across Africa are copying the Filipino way of speaking English. Because it works, it connects, and it inspires. Watch the next video on your screen. You'll see just how deep this Filipino influence runs across the world.